welcome back to the STEM to Inspire YouTube channel. Today we will be learning about cells, specifically plant cells. So to start off, we're going to start with the definition. So cells are the building blocks of all living organisms, which includes plants and animals, so therefore including humans also. Specifically, we're going to be dealing with plant cells today, so they are the building block of plants. So the plant cells of a plant will make up the organs of a plant. Now, normally you think of organs as like from humans or animals, but plants also have organs. Those are the plant's leaves, the plant's stems, and the plant's roots. It's just the different parts of the plant. So moving on, we are going to be discussing organelles. So organelles are what make up the cell. Each cell has specific organelles, and each organelle has a unique purpose that helps the cell live and grow and reproduce. So I have brought in this container here, which is full of Jell-O. So the Jell-O is going to model what we call the cytoplasm. So this is what holds the cell together. It's what keeps all the other organelles in place. So moving on, our next organelle is going to be the nucleus. I'm going to add it into our cell using toothpicks. So the nucleus is known as the brain of the cell. It's the command center. It's what holds the genetic code of the cell, which allows it to reproduce, and it basically controls everything that happens in the cell. So it's very important. So moving on, our next organelle is the endoplasmic reticulum. So the main role of the endoplasmic reticulum is to transport proteins and also carbohydrates to the nucleus, which we'll discuss some proteins later. It also helps form the nucleus. We are going to be using gummy worms to represent this organelle. So there it is. It's kind of a weird shape and kind of hard to represent, but that's sort of what it looks like. So next up, we have ribosomes. So ribosomes are small structures that make protein, which can be used to repair damage within the cell. So they're most commonly found on the endoplasmic reticulum, and they can also float around in the cytoplasm, which was the jelly substance. So we are going to represent them with nerds because of their size. And we're going to place a few on the endoplasmic reticulum and a few in the cytoplasm. So next up, we will be discussing the vacuole.
So the vacuole is a really large structure in the cell, and it acts as like a storage container in the cell. It stores waste, which it will get rid of, obviously, but it can also store water and other things that the cell needs to survive. So to represent this structure, we will be using cotton candy. So that is the vacuole.
So next up, we will be discussing the mitochondria, which is, it has a very important role. So the mitochondria is often referred to as the powerhouse of the cell, and that is because within the mitochondria is where chemical reactions occur, which produces energy for the cell, and the energy that the cell uses is actually called ATP. So it is a very important role, obviously, because it's producing energy for the cell. So we are going to be representing the mitochondria with Nutter Butters. So we'll put 2 in there, and there is that. So I had a little trouble with the gummy worms, or the endoplasmic reticulum, because they fell off their toothpicks, so I just took off the toothpicks. That's why it looks a little different. Next up, we are going to be discussing the Golgi apparatus. So the Golgi apparatus is known as the post office of the cell, and that is because it prepares proteins such as the ribosomes we discussed earlier, which, if you remember, they help dealing with damage around the cell and repairing. So the Golgi apparatus will prepare those proteins and ribosomes, and it will send them off to any place in the cell where they're needed. So because of this preparation and shipping, that's why it's known as the post office. So for the Golgi apparatus, I am using these sort of sour little things. It's like sour strips of candy. So this one was a little hard to shape, but this is generally what it's supposed to look like. So the next and final organelle we will be discussing is the chloroplast. So the chloroplast produce energy for the cell through photosynthesis, which some of you may have learned about already. Basically, it will absorb sun rays, and it can turn them into energy for the cell through chemical processes. And the chloroplasts are green, and because they absorb the sunlight, we see leaves and plants as the color green. So that is what causes the green color. I am using green airheads, which I cut and shaped into small little things. It might be hard to see because of the green jello, but they are right there. So this is the completed cell. I am going to review everything that we have in here. First off, we have the jello in the bottom, which represents the cytoplasm, and that just holds everything together in the cell. Next up, we have a cake pop, which represents the nucleus of the cell, which holds the genetic code and controls everything that happens in the cells. Around the nucleus, we have the endoplasmic reticulum, which helps transport proteins to the nucleus and helps build the nucleus. The nerds that we have scattered across through here, the pink ones, those are ribosomes, which are a type of protein that will repair damage around the cell. Next, we have the mitochondria over here, which are the 2 Nutter Butters, and those are responsible for making energy through the cell through chemical reactions. The cotton candy here is the vacuole, which is the storage unit for the cell, which stores waste to get rid of, and it also stores water for the cell. The pink-ish little strips of sour candy here represent the Golgi apparatus, which is the post office of the cell, as we called it before, which is responsible for making proteins and transporting them across the cell. And finally, we have these green things that we talked about here at the end, which are the chloroplast, which use photosynthesis to produce energy for the cell by absorbing sunlight. So that is all for today. You can make your own cell out of candy or other things if you would like. I hope you learned something about cells and organelles today. Thank you for watching this video. If you like STEM to Inspire and STEM topics, subscribe and you can watch some of our other videos. Have a wonderful day.